OMG, what's going on, guys? It's me. I'm back like cooked crack, guys. I am here with another episode of the show. This is kind of a bonus episode. This is episode 2. You're getting 2 this week. This is literally a continuation of the last conversation. I'd started talking about religious trauma, right? And then I stumbled into talking about friendships. And I was like, you know what? I clearly am not done with that soapbox and talking about my experiences with friendship this year, and what I'm learning and growing and talking to my therapist about in regards to friendships. The last episode, um, I was basically saying how my religious trauma has been one of the many things that's added to and contributed to my trust issues that I have. And I was saying I am realizing that I am afraid of making new friends. And I've never felt that in my life. And I don't think I realized it. It's just something that I sat down with myself and I'm like, why is this so problematic for you? Why is this so troubling? Why does this feel so hard, so unnatural, so scary? And it's because there's just so much shit going on in the world today. And it's like, okay, let me give you an interesting parallel. So being gay, right, and trying to find a partner is hard. And straight people are like, whatever, like we deal with, it's hard to find compatible people, et cetera, which, yeah, it is, because, you know, you're going to make sure that you're sexually compatible, physically compatible, that you want kids or don't want kids, that you believe all lives matter or Black lives matter. I mean, there's a lot of criteria. But like when you're gay, for example, you have to determine whether or not they're a top or a bottom or a verse. Um, and then also what community they fit into, if they do, whether it's I guess I don't know if it's more body types or more like a sexual kinks, but I think it all kind of goes together with like the bears, twinks, otters, cubs, where they are leather daddies, pig people, whatever they're called. No kink shaming here. They want this show to be a very sex positive space. But there's just a lot of things you gotta take into account when you're gay that when you're straight you really don't have to take into account, because on top of all the shit straight people have to worry about as far as the basics of starting a relationship, the gay components are wild. I mean, but then again, we also don't have to worry about like the wage gap difference between a man and a female, combating sexism and the male chauvinistic bullshit. I mean, then again, we do have more feminine men and more masculine men sometimes that fall in relationships and fall under certain gender roles. So, I mean, it can happen, but either way, it's layers to the shit, right? So I think my point was that making friendships in the past was easy, but now it's more difficult, and especially when you're Black, because then you got to be like, all right, I got to see if we are even compatible as friends, and like if our um, morals align, right? Like, are we even meant to be friends? Do we have the right sense of humor? Like, are you a loyal friend? Are you a good friend? But now we got to find out, like, who'd you fucking vote for, bitch? Who are you going to vote for? Did you vote at all? Like, because that's a no go in my fucking book. Um, do you believe Black Lives Matter? Will you be vocal about it on social media? Or will you only be vocal about issues that, trouble you? If it's a friend that's outside of your race, even friends within your race, you have to make sure that the Black people you're talking to know what the fuck they're talking about and are, open minded, and that they're not spewing racist shit about other groups too, because that's a thing. We're live in a country that was founded on being a fucking racist, and it's right now that is just something that's being very perpetuated still, within the values of our country now. It's to be racist is, from the top. It's a thing. So you gotta really make sure that your friends, even if they're Black, aren't out here saying offensive things about Asian people or saying offensive things about Indian people or making these crazy generalizations and jokes about other cultures. And it's just like, fuck. There's so many pieces to the criteria, and like, I don't know. I just find it all to be very exhausting. And I don't know if I'm the only person who feels it's a little lonely sometimes, because I just don't feel like putting the energy into being disappointed by people. Um, because it's like, even if they don't disappoint you in one way, it's like they're going to disappoint you in another. And it just starts to feel kind of hopeless. And then also trying to go out and meet people during COVID is like a no go. Also, I've been living in Chicago for just over a year, so I'm new in the city. The last 6 months of my 1 year have been spent in basically quarantine, so there's that. So it hasn't been easy, and I just wonder if there's other people out there who are having this problem, like just making new friends, meeting new people. I mean, I'm blessed to be in a relationship, so I don't have to worry about what it would be like to date during COVID. I can only imagine that it would be very fucking difficult, and just very isolating. I mean, how do you even, go through, relationship ups and downs, or with dating, getting ghosted or broken up with or what have you, when you can't even, in some cases, hit up your friends to get together and have like a girl talk or go out for drinks, depending on where you live and what's open and what's closed. And um, it's just, it's rough. And friendships, I mean, I think good friends are hard to find, right? But I think friends who grow with you are even harder to find. Because I feel like you could find someone that meets you where you're at in the time, age, era of your life, right? You meet at 16, you guys are there and you grow up, both of you, right? And for a while, you guys might feel like we here, like we're in there, like it's fine. This is my bestie from, childhood, basically. But when you hit times like what we're in, you gotta have friends that grow with you, at least in my opinion. I'm not gonna be out here giving advice. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I needed friends that were going to grow with me, um, through not only the social upheaval of 2020, and cultural upheaval, but also in the election, Jesus Christ, but also when you start therapy and you start digging into your shit, you need friends who are going to grow with the person that you become through learning about your shit. Like when I started to dig up my reasons about why I do some of my toxic behaviors, like you need friends who support that and don't encourage your toxic behaviors or aren't complicit with them, and who you're not complicit with. Like you need friends who not necessarily are in your business pushing you. Or let me just stop saying you and focus on me. I just needed friends who felt like as I was growing, they were really hyper focused on their own growth as well. That way, it wasn't like I have this amazing therapy session for a few months, and I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm getting to the real root of some of my shit, and I'm talking to people who don't care to do the same for themselves and just kind of repeat the same cycles of toxic behavior and toxic shit. And you feel bad because you want more for your friend, but it's also like I'm growing, like you're not. And or maybe you are, but we're just growing in different ways, because I don't want it to sound like it's an elitist thing, like I'm going to therapy and you're just just not doing anything with your life, because you don't have to go to therapy to grow. You just have to stop for a second and look into why you do the fucking bullshit that you do and not be complicit with it and just be like, I'm just crazy, I'm just psycho, I'm just this. No, like we're not just that. Maybe that's why we became friends initially, because our chaotic energy, or our coping mechanisms that maybe are toxic linked up, and we kind of gas each other in, like, go off, sis. Like, I support this toxic shit. Maybe that was great for that time, but as people grow, it becomes harder to push through your own growth journey if you are surrounded by people who aren't taking those steps. And I think that's also important. I talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but um with the cultural upheaval, right? And with Black Lives Matter, and with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and just with everything, the protests, with the riots, with Trump, with the election, you need friends who are open and who aren't so focused on being right or being the victim or wanting to have these conversations with you that feel like they are gaslighting, where they are arguing both sides of the spectrum. It's like, no, if your friend says to you, I'm upset by something that's happening in the world and it is pissing me off. Fuck this person. Fuck this shit. You need to hear them out, but also if you don't agree and they're telling you there's resources, you need to look for those resources on your own. If you want to be a white ally to your black friends, it doesn't come by telling one black friend, well, this is what my other black friend said that they feel like I should be doing during this time. Or this is what this black friend, this is what I feel. What about I'm going through? No, you need to take the steps as a fucking ally to figure it out on your own. And like I've said before, if your friends can figure out, how to hack into a phone and find out where some guy, their boyfriend's been or who he's been talking to, or find out all this shit, or when you tell them there's a new guy you're talking to, they can go online and find all his like LinkedIn and find everything in a heartbeat and find his baby mama and all this shit. That they can definitely find out why you feel so strongly about white privilege and what white privilege really means and where their privilege comes in, rather than listening to other people that don't feel the same as you. Because if that's the case, we just don't need to be friends. It's hard and it's exhausting to have those discussions over and over and over again, where I felt like I was fighting the world, right? I'm fighting the world. I'm fighting to be black and survive and to feel comfortable and feel safe. I'm fighting a pandemic. I'm fighting being black. I'm fighting a pandemic. I'm fighting being homosexual. I'm fighting all my shit that I've got, these, just shit that's happening. And then on top of this, I have to fight you. I have to fight a friend, and not fight as in argue, but fight as in try to get them to see my perspective, your perspective. Like, that is exhausting. And it's not to say like stop being friends with people if they can't see your perspective. No. But you need friends that are willing to put in the work to see your perspective. Because if they know, trust, and love you, then they should know, trust, and love that what you're feeling isn't just propaganda. It isn't just bullshit. Like, if you're feeling something so strong that doesn't impact them because it's not, doesn't affect them directly because they're not within the group you're in, it's your job to figure out why they feel that way, and not just by asking them, but asking other people who look like them and doing the work and doing the research. Like, if my female friends told me they felt really threatened as females by something that was going on in the world, I didn't really feel like it was that big of a deal. But they are freaking out. Women are protesting. Women are just in a complete upheaval, culturally, socially, just trying to get everyone to see this perspective. I owe it to my female friends to read a fucking book, to Google a goddamn article, to watch a fucking few YouTube videos, 10 or 20, whatever it takes for me to understand why my girlfriends, my female friends, feel so passionate about something that affects their gender that I'm not a part of. In my opinion. And I could be wrong. This is what I believe and what I seek going forward in friendships. As a black person, I shouldn't be arguing why, okay, Trump isn't that bad. Like, I shouldn't have to argue with you why I think he is. I shouldn't have to argue with you why you should be more upset and more vocal about the injustices that are happening in America in regards to black people. Like, I shouldn't be arguing that. I shouldn't be asking for it. I shouldn't be arguing about why I feel betrayed by your complicitness to sit and lay with people or things that directly negatively impact me, or thought processes. I mean, for you to be comfortable with people who have thought processes that put my life in danger, and people who look like me, why it would be upsetting to me that a friend is okay with that. These are the things that have made friendship tough this year, but I think it's also really been eye-opening, and it really has just been one of those things that it's like, it's been make or break. Doesn't make it easier to find friends from here on out, but it does make it tough. I mean, that's just talking about cultural differences, and, that's one side of the coin. I also have been dealing with, I think we had like a quarantine friendship fatigue at one point, where I feel like we all thought this shit was going to be temporary. One of my friends was saying I missed the beginning of quarantine, and I'm like, yes, bitch, me too. We were all catching up with people we hadn't talked to in years. We were all on Zoom. We were all on the House Party app. We were all just being so social, and it all went out the window when I think everyone got fatigued. There was too much happening. I mean, once the summer came around, once June came around, and Ahmaud Arbery, and you're looking at George Floyd, and you're looking at everything, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm tired. I don't have the energy to call these people and check in on their lives every day. And I feel like it sucks, right? And it is kind of sad, but I feel like in this time we have to really be lenient with our friends. And we have to be understanding. And I don't think now's the time to say, if you were my real friend, you would check in. If you were my real friend, you'd reach out more. I feel like everyone's trying to hold their shit together the best they can by a thread. I don't, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm trying to hold my shit together by a fucking thread. And I try to be there for my friends if they need me. But I can already say it. Like, I know I haven't been the most fantastic friend. I've been the best friend I can be right now because I wear other hats. I have to also be the best coworker and employee that I can be. I have to be the best boyfriend that I can be. I have to be the best fucking citizen, out in the world. Like, I can't wear every hat when the weight of the world is sitting on our fucking shoulders and the world is burning down. Like, you have to be more lenient with people when it comes to them answering your calls or calling you all the time. Not lenient with them as in, like, disregard everything I just said. It's okay if your friends, like, are complicit with racist people. No, fuck that. No, you should not be more lenient with that, because I read this meme that said we can disagree on pizza toppings, but we can't disagree on basic human rights and racism. Like, no, like, I fucked that meme up. I'm sure it's like it's said differently, but there's certain things we can and can't disagree on, and that's just a point blank period. So I don't think that's affected by the pandemic, but I think just in general, we just need to be a lot more compassionate with ourselves and also with the people around us and our friends and with our expectations of them. Friendship expectations right now need to fucking change because the world's changed. Like, you can't expect your friend to be everything to you. Look at the other hats they're wearing. Maybe they have kids. Maybe they have a boyfriend. Maybe they have a girlfriend. Like, maybe they have brothers, sisters, parents, nephews, cousins that they need to be there for. Like, they can't do all of that and be your everything too. And this is why I urge people to take control of your own fucking mental health. Like, take this burden, take the weight off of your friends and your boyfriend to fucking get you in and out of your mental health breakdowns. Like, I think it's important for them to be around, when your friends can be and your boyfriends can be when you're having a little meltdown. But I think the overall, like, they're not your fucking therapist. Your man is not your fucking therapist. Your best friend is not your fucking therapist. Like, you need to go use that money that you're spending on silly shit and spend that on therapy. On the drinks you're buying to take your friend out to talk their ear off about your shit. Maybe you need to spend that on a copay for a therapist. Maybe you need to spend it on a self-help book. If you can identify one of the areas you're struggling with, maybe find a book with that title. Maybe someone else has been struggling with that. And read the fucking book before you dump on people who can't handle any more dumping this year. And this is myself included. Like, I have to pull myself aside and ask myself and ask my boyfriend, like, am I putting too much on you? Like, when I vent about a situation, I'm like, fuck, I apologize. I just dumped on you. Like, I need to make sure you're in a good place to be able to handle it so that you have the emotional bandwidth at that time to take on my shit. Even with my friends, I try to do it in bulk, wait a little bit sometimes before I tell them, my frustrations. Maybe take a day or two in a therapy session or a day or two of me just being with my own thoughts before I spill them onto people. And I think that our culture, we have become so dependent on other people to handle our mental health issues for us. And we almost make them feel like it's their responsibility. Like, you want your boyfriend to be your best friend, your confidant, your sex partner, your romantic partner, your this and your that. And in reality, it's like, that's a lot of fucking hats to wear. So if you're going to demand all that, number one, we probably need to scale back on a few of those. But also, um, you can't expect someone who's in a relationship, or even not in a relationship, you can't expect someone who has kids or who has a demanding, maybe they take care of their parents or their grandparents. You can't expect them to have all the energy in the world to handle your shit. Um, and maybe you just need to internalize this shit a little bit and work out some of the kinks before you dump it on people. I mean, that's just what I'm looking for in a friend. Let me not act like I'm out here giving people advice, because I keep saying you. Let me just bring this back to myself and say, I'm looking for friends who don't just dump on me and who, test the water when they need to talk and ask, if hey, you good? Like, can we talk? Um, and I want to start doing that more, because if I haven't been with my friends, and I do apologize if I have been dumping, because I have been a dumper for sure. I feel like I'm kind of moving away from that now. I said to make sure I'm not projecting, or not projecting, but that I'm not, dumping this onto my boyfriend. So, I mean, I'm just saying friendships are tough, especially right now. I'm going through it, with the loss of some friendships with some people that are, people I will always love no matter what, with the inability to be able to jump into a lot of social situations during COVID-19. Um, that's tough. So it's not easy, and I can only imagine living by yourself, or someone who lives on their own. I live by myself. Let me not get crazy. Living on your own and being single would be tough. Like, I have friends in big cities that are by themselves and haven't really been able to make friends yet, and I feel for them, and I don't even know what to tell them. I don't even know, because it's tough. I can't imagine, because I'm not in those shoes. I mean, granted, if my man were to fucking bibbity bobbity boo disappear right now, I would not have a lot of friends in Chicago or people that I know. So, one of my best friends just fucking left Chicago. I think she's listening to this, and I love you, and I'm glad that you went on to your next chapter, but bitch, hello, like, one more down. I'm like, ah. But no, on a serious note, I do think that we all need to reevaluate friendship and what it looks like for ourselves. At least I do. And that's what I've been working on, is reevaluating what I want in a friend, what I expect from my current friends, what my current friends are able to do and what they're able to meet me at, and being realistic about that. When I'm able to meet people at, where I'm able to meet people at realistically, like, I got to look at that too. Like, what type of friend can I be right now, realistically? Because that's going to change and structure my wants, needs, and expectations from people. Keep that same energy is fucking important. Like, how much energy can I give? Because that's about as much as I can expect. I can't expect to be a fucking dump truck on somebody, but not have the bandwidth to let them dump back. And I know I've been guilty of that in the past, for sure. So I don't want to do that anymore. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's really where I'm at with friendship. This might be a short episode, but I would love to hear from you guys, though. I'd love for you to either write in, you can write a DM at Depressed Funny People on Instagram, or you can send me a voice message on Instagram, or you can go to the episode description on iTunes and or Spotify, and you can send a voicemail through there. I'm trying to troubleshoot that. I've heard some people say they had some issues. Let me know what your findings are. However, yeah, I mean, that's really that. And I don't know, just try to keep your shit together the best you can. Like I said in the last episode, pat yourself on the fucking back, because no matter what, look for the little things you've fucking done today and pat yourself on the goddamn back for that. And I didn't do my breathing exercise on the last episode, so I do want to close this episode with people just taking a deep breath. I might have dug up some feelings, some things that might have stressed you out or made you think. I want you to just be compassionate with yourself as you're thinking through those things, and don't beat yourself up about them. Don't beat other people up about it unless they deserve it. And yeah, guys, just we're gonna end this with taking a deep breath. So We're going to take a deep breath into the nose 3 times. We're going to exhale out of the mouth for 3 seconds. I said 3 times. For 3 seconds. And then we're going to say fuck this shit and go on about our day and make the most of it. So let's go ahead and take that deep inhale, guys. Come on. And as you're breathing, keep sucking in. Breathe in all the nonsense and bullshit and negativity because you're about to blow that shit out. Hold it for a second. Now blow that shit out. However you want to blow it out. Just get that negative energy out. It's hard. I need to go breathe a lot because I'm just, I'm stressed and I'm going through it. And it's just life, the world is fucked right now. And I'm doing my best to stay afloat. And I encourage you to do the same. Figuring out what my coping mechanisms are that are healthy. Don't know, I'm relearning what that looks like for me. Actually, I'm learning for the first time because I've never had healthy coping mechanisms. So let's call a thing a thing. So I'm learning that. And I encourage other people to explore that as well. And until next time, y'all, have a blessed day and try to figure out ways to keep your shit together. And we'll talk soon. Bye.